Hi there guys, today's lesson is a little bit similar to lesson number 1 in that I'm going to give you a metaphor that explains kind of how hypnosis works and why hypnosis is an effective tool for change compared to doing things like willpower. There's a couple of reasons that I'm doing this, even though I've given you something very similar already. First, I would advise that you use this metaphor with your clients. When you think about it, most people come to hypnosis as a last resort. They've tried everything else and they've failed several times over and over again. So they've got this pattern in their mind saying that I'm trying to make this change but everything I do doesn't work. So you need to give them a reason for that. You need to explain why all that stuff, whatever they've done in the past, was destined to fail, and that stuff doesn't work for this reason. And hypnosis is different because of this, and hypnosis will work and it'll be dead easy because of this. So that's kind of what this does. The second reason I'm giving you this metaphor is because I want you to remove the blinkers about what you believe hypnosis is capable of doing. And rather than looking at stuff like weight loss, quitting smoking, improving someone's confidence, that kind of stuff, I want you to start to explore using hypnosis for things that you possibly hadn't considered before. And we're going to be moving into the realms of the law of attraction, cosmic ordering, and that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So first and foremost, I want to get this metaphor out of the way. This is the one that I use with my clients. It's the idea of comparing the mind to that of a garden. And everything that's in the garden represents different things that are going on in that person's life. The stuff that they like and they really want to keep is represented by exotic flowers and beautiful trees and shrubs and all that kind of stuff. The things that they don't want in their life, that they want to remove, is represented by weeds in the garden. So let's say if they wanted to quit smoking, as an example. Pardon the pun, but there will be a weed that represents smoking, so there will be a smoking weed somewhere in their garden. So what we need to do is somehow remove that. Now, if they've tried to quit smoking in the past and failed over and over again, and they've used willpower to do this, it's kind of like going out into that garden, finding this smoking weed, and just snipping it off at ground level and just throwing away all the foliage. If they do that, if you go and do that in real life in your own garden, you go and cut away at a weed and you throw away all of the material that you can see up top, for a couple of days the garden's going to look fantastic. But because the roots are still beneath the surface, after a couple of days the plant will start to grow back, the weed will come back, and we'll be having this ongoing battle over and over again. Now, we see this when people try to quit something like smoking, like any bad habit, or people who go on diets. We see it, yo-yo dieting, over and over again. People use their willpower, they get rid of the thing that they don't want. It looks great for a few days, but then it comes back, then they do it again and again and again. And you have people who have quit smoking hundreds of times, and it's just insane. What hypnotherapy does, which is different from everything they will have tried before, is it enables us to go beneath the surface. So rather than snipping away the plant and throwing away the leaves that are up top, we're going down under the ground and we're finding the root that is feeding that plant. And we're using hypnosis to completely remove that. So we're removing the foundation, the supporting network that makes the plant grow. When we do this, the plant will just die naturally. Now, sometimes that process happens straight away, depending on how you do your therapy. Other times it takes a little bit of time to kick in. If we really went out into a garden and we removed the roots of one of the weeds that are in that garden, the plant that's up top, all of the leaves, that would stay there for a little while, but because there's nothing feeding it, after a few days it would all wither and it would die away. Now, often when a person goes to a hypnotherapist, that's exactly what happens. They go to a hypnotherapist to do something like quitting smoking. The hypnotherapist removes the roots, sends them on their way, and then the person will say something like, "That hypnosis, waste of time. I went to quit smoking, it didn't work. But the next day, I quit all by myself." Now that's really, really common. And I want you to tell your clients that there is this delay. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen. And the reason for this, the reason I want you to tell your clients this, is because if your client goes away believing the hypnosis was useless, and they manage to quit smoking themselves the next day, this is nothing to do with your ego or you being credited for making them change. It's to do with giving them a sense of belief that hypnosis is a useful tool. So if they have another problem, they can use hypnosis and elicit change, as opposed to thinking, well, it didn't work for smoking, I'm not going to use it for weight loss. Also, they will speak to other people. So if they're going to go to someone else and say that hypnosis was useless, they're going to be putting that person off hypnosis, which could potentially stop that person from changing their life. So do tell people that after the session, sometimes what happens is there's a little bit of a lag, maybe a day, maybe 2 days. And once those couple of days have gone, you'll notice that the desire for you to do this thing you used to do will be completely eliminated and you'll no longer need to do it anymore. It just takes a few days to filter through. And if you explain this idea of the metaphor of having plants in the garden and weeds and the root networks that support them, then they'll be able to understand that from an idea that's really easy for people to visualise in their own mind. Take the roots away, the plant slowly dies over the next couple of days because there's nothing feeding it. Also, of course, with the idea of using willpower, quite often you'll get, if somebody tarmacs a drive and they don't prepare it properly, then you'll notice that after a few weeks you'll have dandelions growing through and things like that. And it's simply because the stuff that's underneath is incredibly powerful. Now, when people kind of use a lot of willpower or a lot of positive thinking to kind of whitewash over the top of their problems, it's a bit like doing that. It's like doing a really cheap tarmac job on a drive. You don't prepare the foundation first of all, then all the weeds that were underneath are just going to burst their way through. Even though that tarmac's really tough, those weeds will be able to grow through. So when you explain that, it really gives people a reason for having failed in the past. So it kind of excuses failure, because there's no way that they're ever going to be able to use the conscious mind, which is where willpower comes from, to be able to defeat something which is in the subconscious mind, which is where your beliefs come from. So willpower is never going to override a belief. It might be able to push one down for a little while, but then the belief will spring back up. It's very similar to the idea of jumping into a river and trying to swim upstream as opposed to just going downstream and going with the flow. If you go into someone's subconscious mind and you remove those roots, that's almost as though you have changed the river's flow towards the destination you want to go in. So when you jump in, you naturally flow in that direction. It becomes really easy. In fact, not to change becomes more difficult, because that is the way the subconscious mind is taking you. So that's what happens in this situation. It's a brilliant metaphor that you can use to explain things to people and excuse past failures. But I also want to talk about this idea of the law of attraction. If you want something in your life, that's like wanting a new thing in your garden. In order to get that thing, you have to plant a seed. So if I want an oak tree in my garden, I have to plant an acorn. I absolutely have to do that. There's no other way of growing an oak tree. I've got to plant an acorn, or a young sapling oak tree, something like that. If I want some flowers, I have to plant the correct seeds to get those flowers. Now, hypnosis is a tool that enables you to go beneath the surface, it enables you to plant seeds, it enables you to nurture their growth, to water them. It also enables you to remove seeds and remove root networks that are there that are supporting things that you do not want in someone's life. So, the way that we can use this, traditionally, it's used for stuff like quitting smoking, losing weight, improving confidence. It's also used for changing your body, breast, penis enlargement, that kind of thing. So it's used for quite a lot of stuff, and this is all inside the box. To me, this is like a hypnotist wearing the blinkers and just seeing the possibilities of a hypnosis from this really linear perspective. It is possible to plant different seeds inside the garden of someone's mind that can grow into a reality in their experience. I'll give you a couple of examples of experiments that I've personally done that have been completely successful. By using hypnosis to plant a seed, I've managed to align someone's expectation to a reality that they wanted to experience. Now, this is based on the idea of the law of attraction or cosmic ordering. Like attracts like. If you are vibrating in harmony with a reality that you want to experience, you're going to attract that reality to you. In very simple terms, if you want to be confident, then if you hypnotise a person to imagine they are really confident and you get them to really tune into that energy and bring it back into their present, then they're going to start feeling more confident and attract more confidence to them. Similarly, if you hypnotise a person and you plant seeds of suggestion inside their garden, inside their subconscious mind, that say that you are a winner. Imagine you just won a car. Imagine you're driving the car. Imagine the delight as you tell your friends and your family about winning this brand new car. Listen to the sound of the engine, and you do all that kind of stuff. You connect them to that reality, and you tune into that to such an extent that it feels real for them, which is very easy to do under hypnosis, then you are planting a seed inside their subconscious mind which will grow into the reality of winning that exact car. I know that sounds crazy, but it's something I've done on several occasions, hypnotising a person to win a car. Now, I started doing that before I'd seen The Secret movie or learned anything about the law of attraction or any of those kind of things, and to me it was just an experiment. When I first started using hypnosis, I originally started just by practicing on friends and family. I used to run a restaurant. After work, there used to be 4 or 5 of us at the end of the night, and I just used to hypnotise people, and we had a bit of a laugh. It was just a bit of fun with friends. So I hypnotised people to do things that you wouldn't normally do. I experimented with ideas and suggestions that wouldn't be appropriate for therapeutic and wouldn't be appropriate for the stage. You're not going to hypnotise someone on stage and say you've just won a holiday and then explain the holiday and get them to tune into the vibration of that, imagine that they're there, connect to the emotion and the feeling of it, so they are spiritually vibrating in harmony with it in the hope that that's going to attract that reality to them. But that's the kind of experiment I used to do when I was just messing around with hypnosis. And time again, I saw amazing results. I'd hypnotise people to win a very specific car, specific colour, certain wheels, a certain make and model, and that's what would happen to them. I'd hypnotise people to win a holiday at a very specific location, a certain hotel, and that's what would happen to them. Now, this enables you to use hypnosis in order to be able to change somebody's reality using ideas based on quantum physics and the law of attraction. So this is something that I really want you to experiment with. Now, I know this is a little bit out there, and a lot of people that are just into the psychological side of hypnosis will just be saying this is all nonsense, this can't be done, you can't change things like this. I'm here to tell you to take off those blinkers. Think outside the box and start to explore the idea that what happens inside someone's unconscious mind, their thoughts, their beliefs, the vibration at which they resonate, their energy, is what creates the reality of their experience. If someone's got a belief inside their mind that smoking is cool, they want to impress people, they'll probably become a smoker. You hypnotise someone, you remove that belief, it's like removing the roots that support the weed that represents smoking. Once you've got rid of that, there's nothing supporting it anymore, and the smoking habit will just die away. If you go into someone's subconscious mind and they think, money's really hard to get, rich people are evil, they have no fun, poor people are more morally spiritual and all those kind of things, those beliefs support a reality that will create a life of poverty, a life of struggle. If you hypnotise a person, you remove all that stuff and you install beliefs that support the idea that it is very righteous to be rich and wealthy, you can do wonderful things with money, then their reality will start to change. Because you will have planted something that's going to grow into a new experience from them. You're going to have changed them into someone who is in harmony with the idea of becoming abundant. So this is kind of how the law of attraction works, and I really do, if you haven't, I implore you to watch The Secret, understand this idea of your thoughts in your subconscious mind really do manifest your reality for you, or read my book, Wishing Well. I'll post a link to it below. Or I'll send you a copy. I will, if I haven't already, because I will send a copy out to the list, and by the time you watch this video I might have done that. I'll send you a copy of my book so you can find out more about this kind of stuff. But what I would like you to do, and the reason for this lesson, is to ask you to remove the blinkers of connecting hypnosis with just pure psychology and this idea of it being able to be used for a very limited amount of stuff. Remove all that and start experimenting with your friends and your family on using hypnosis to completely transform their reality, making someone rich, making someone win cars and holidays, all that kind of stuff, and just experiment with what is possible, healing people. What I will say is remember the safeguards. If you hypnotise somebody to achieve something in their life and you think there's no way they're going to do this, you might be tempted to say something that might not be such a good idea for them. Always act as in what you have said is absolutely going to happen. It's going to become their reality 100%. So only say things that are for that person's greater good. So that's all for today. If you haven't already received a copy of my book, Wishing Well, I will pop a link beneath this video so you can download a copy, but I will have sent it out to some people already, so you might already have one. And that's all, so you take care and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.